We are on?
We're on.
We're on. All right. Well, I'm just going to sit down here and talk until we have some people on here. And we are going to do 2 recipes today, which is really ambitious. And I don't have this set, so it needs to get set. Okay. We are going to be learning about einkorn, which is a type of heritage wheat. It's an ancient grain, and that's what we're going to be doing today. So, shall I wait till anybody else comes on here?
Well, you know, people will watch this
All right.
after the fact.
All right.
So are there some facts that you'd like to share?
There are some facts. There are some facts about einkorn. So, we use the...
There's Bernie.
Hi, Bernie. We use einkorn from Jovial. But her and her husband own this company, and they live in Italy. And they're in Connecticut too, but they're in Italy. And they have this all grown organically by farmers there in Italy. And the reason they started doing it is because they have a daughter who's gluten sensitive. And they found not gluten intolerant, but gluten sensitive. Well, einkorn is a higher protein and less gluten. It doesn't have all of the same things that regular wheat does. And so her daughter is able to eat it. And so she has put together, I have her cookbook, which is still in a box. But you can go to her website, Jovial website, and there's all kinds of recipes. It is a stickier flour, and when you put water with it, it takes longer, and so you think, oh, I need to add more, and if you add more, it's going to be too much. And so today we're going to make 2 things. The first thing that we are going to make is crackers. And the reason I'm going to make crackers is because I like to snack. But if I go to the store and I buy food that is snack crackers, it has the wrong oil, the wrong, too much sugar, ingredients that I can't pronounce. And so I am taking my own raw ingredients and making these crackers. And so I will demonstrate them in that way. The other thing we're going to make is an einkorn applesauce spice cake with reduced flour and all natural ingredients. So the oven has to be heated to 400 degrees, and it has to have water in a container, an inch to an inch and a half of water on the bottom, and then the pan on the top. I don't even know if they can see over here. Can they see over here?
Yes.
No. Okay. So,
no, they can't.
no. Okay. So I have a cookie sheet on the top getting hot, and a container with water in the bottom. So that's what's in there right now. So I'm just going to start so that I can get this in here, because this cooks at 400 degrees and my cake cooks at 350. So I'm going to cook 1 batch of crackers. I'm going to start with flour, and what I want to show you is how this is made. So this is my flour that I have made from the kernels, and this is kernels. This is kernels. So it's fresh kernels, and I'm going to show you what I do. So I just put this into here. I'm actually going to put 2 of them in here. And this isn't a Vitamix commercial, but this is the reason I bought my Vitamix, because I saw this done. Whoops. And so I put it on, and watch how fast this happens. Done. It's flour. I didn't have to grind it, and it's ready to use, but it's fresh, and that's why I use this. We do have a grinder also, but when you turn your kernels into flour and set it on the shelf, it will start getting rancid. So I cook it and make it right when I'm going to want it. So that's what I wanted to show you, how to do that. So very first thing we're going to do is take flour, and when you do einkorn, you can just measure it. It calls for 2 cups of it, or you pour it in and it wants 192 grams. And so that's what I'm going to measure. And there we go. 192. 192 grams. And to that, I am going to add 3/4 of a cup of 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt and 1/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder. And in that, this is one of my favorite tools ever, and it's a pastry blender. So to that, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of butter. And I just chop it up a little bit so that it's a little bit easier. And Jim, do you need to say anything to anyone?
Well, we have like, let's see, in this screen over here, there's 10 people watching.
Okay.
So, and there's been a few who've been making comments. So,
Okay.
And we acknowledge that we didn't announce it ahead of time. We weren't able to do that because of the way today was going.
Yeah.
We're here now and people are watching.
Okay, so
what are you making is the question.
I am making einkorn crackers. And I'm making crackers because I don't like to buy them, because I know what's in them when I make them. So I use my blender a little bit, but then I'm just going to take my fingers and I'm going to make it so that it turns into sand.
So for those who came late, einkorn is an ancient grain. We get ours from a company called Jovial. They have it grown in Italy, and from our pricing, somehow they're able to import it from Italy to the U.S. Cheaper than people in the U.S. are growing, and it's better quality.
Yeah,
Go
it's
figure.
really good. Okay. So I've got this all made up. Now what I'm going to do in this bowl right here, this little bowl, I am going to add oil, 1 tablespoon of oil to a little bowl, 1 tablespoon of honey, and 1/4 cup of water. I mix that all together. And pour it in. And this makes a really nice, soft, pliable dough. So then what you want to do is, let me take this off of here. I'm going to put just a tiny bit of flour on here, and I'm going to kind of knead it for 2 minutes. Well, or as long as I want to. Probably less than 2 minutes, but it's very nice dough. It's not hard and stiff like some doughs are. And then I'm going to divide it into thirds and roll 1/3 out at a time.
One thing you didn't mention is that we found that the flavor of einkorn is really good. We like it.
Really good, yeah. You can mention it.
I mentioned it.
we're trying to get away from, and we know about wheat. Jim's sister lives on a wheat farm and has for her entire life since whenever. Her husband was born there in 1905. It has been a wheat farm. It used to be very, very tall wheat, and then they did all the
improvements.
Yeah. And
But you know, to the credit of the folks who did the research and development, the idea was to put more of what was being done into producing the wheat kernels and not into the stalks. And so that's what they were really trying to do. Higher yields with less resources being used, plus the waste that they had was decreased a lot too. So
I think
there were some advantages to it, but what's being found is that a lot of these insensitivities are increasing. And it has a lot to do with the sensitivity has a lot to do with the fact that it's now a different food than it used to be.
Okay, so I've taken a third of it, putting it between two parchment papers, and I'm going to roll it out. And I love it. It says, roll into a perfect 10-inch round circle. I'm like, no, I'm just rolling it. There's nothing perfect about it when I got done with it. There's all these raw edges, and that's okay. So you actually put the paper right down into the oven. And my oven is almost time. I forgot to have it on in time. You want to do it as thin as you possibly can. And then after you've cut it, and just before it goes in, you can season it with any seasoning you want. When we were making it yesterday, we just did it with salt, and today we've decided to do it with Parmesan cheese. So we went to, we got real Parmesan cheese that's grated very, very fine. Okay. There's that, and now what I'm going to do is flip it over and cross my fingers that it all comes off. They make really easy. Now, I would ask Jim to explain to you whether he liked them or not, but I took him in the car today when we went for a drive, and I had to get out of the car for a moment, and I turned around and came back. There wasn't even one for me to have left.
I thought you had 2 bags of it.
Yeah, well. So he likes them.
It's good.
So you just take this. See, you can see my perfect circle knot. You just take your pizza cutter like that. Take it the opposite way. You do not have to separate them because it just separates when it bakes. Don't worry about funny edges. Funny edges are good. And I'm going to put a little bit of salt on it. Like I say, put any seasoning you want, rosemary, whatever, but I'm going to put some Parmesan cheese and make these be Parmesan crackers. And then all I do, my oven is 20 degrees away, but I'm going to go ahead and pop it in. You just take this and literally put this on top of the cookie sheet that is already in the oven. That's it, all done. So, yes, it requires some work to make your crackers, but you know what they are. And when they're all done, you slide them into the container just a glass jar, glass container. So let me do that. This is what they'll go into when they're all done. So, questions. Anybody have questions?
I don't have any questions here, but everyone, this is your chance. Ask some questions.
Okay, then we're going to, while that's cooking, we're going to make an applesauce spice cake out of einkorn flour.
So we're doing 2 recipes.
2 recipes.
For the price of 1. Wow.
2 recipes. Because when you start eating healthy, you want to be able to have food that you can eat. When you're doing your craving and when you're doing your nibbling, you want to have food that you can do. So that's why I do this, because I'm no different than anybody else, and especially my husband isn't any different than anybody else. He really likes
Nibbles.
nibbles.
Bernie's asking if a regular food processor will do what the Vitamix does.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I bought this because of that.
Yeah.
I have never seen one do it. I don't know. I do not know.
So, what's the cooking duration?
The cooking good question. It says that it needs to cook for 10 minutes, but I did that yesterday and it was way too long. But this is a convection oven, does it both. So I put it, but then the second ones that I cooked, they weren't quite as crisp, were they?
Right.
So,
They need to go a little more.
yeah, I'm going to cook this for 8 more minutes. I will be checking it.
Yep.
So, and it cooks really fast, and you'll see how fast it
And
goes.
in answer to Sue's question, yes, we will be posting the recipe.
Yes, I'll
and-
write them down.
And as far as for future, we're going to be putting those. How are we doing that?
What?
Well, for next week, people were wanting it ahead of time.
Okay, so this is the dilemma. You're making me tell them, huh?
You're
I
good at
have to work.
it. Okay,
You're going to tell them.
I'll tell them.
Okay.
So, Rhenda is going to be starting work as a nurse, and it's going to change our time capabilities. We're still going to be doing these, but we won't be able to do them live. We'll be having them out the same day. That's a downer, but they will include the recipes with them, and that way, you can look at it and then be able to get what you need for each one. So, from a time requirement perspective, that's going to work for
I'm
us.
so sorry. Okay.
Well, life is life. You all know that. You got to do what you got to do.
Okay, so now I'm going to add 240 grams. I know you're like going, what? And that's what these recipes, all Europeans, if you watch the Great Baking Show or whatever, they all measure by a scale. That's the way they measure their flour. So this one calls for, let me get my first page here, sorry. If it's all-purpose flour, it's 1 3/4 cups, or if it's all the whole grain flour, which is what I'm using, it's 2 cups, so, or 240 grams. So I'm going to put this in here. That is 199. And little bit too much.
So you're going to remove a pinch?
I moved a pinch. Perfect, 240. Okay, so you put the flour and all of the dry ingredients. And if you've made cakes, which I literally have not made cakes in so long because I just don't usually. Okay, so I'm adding 3/4 teaspoon of salt. Whoops, sorry. I got my recipes mixed up. Would you take that one out of here? That was messing me up, man. Woo! I'm like, no, I don't. That was a 1/2 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of baking soda, like I said. And then this is cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, and cardamom. So that's all going in there. And that I'm just going to push together.
Patty thinks pinches are important.
Pinches are important. It actually calls for a pinch of cardamom. So there we go. That's done. I can remove that. Now we put the wet ingredients together, and I have 4 tablespoons of butter. Let me make sure I'm doing this right. Sorry. Okay.
You need that one all the way through?
Pour the batter. No. Yeah. Just hold on to it. Okay, beat.
I like that face.
In a bowl, mix the eggs and the granulated sugar. That's what I've got over there. All right, and then I have to put butter, applesauce, and olive oil. And I love her recipes because she always uses olive oil. And so this is calling for olive oil and butter and applesauce. Kind of fun. And I'm going to mix that all together.
Patty says she just learned about cardamom recently, and it's really good.
I just learned about cardamom. It was actually, you know where I learned about it? It was on the British baking show because they use it all the time on there for making their cookies.
I thought it was the 100-foot journey. They used it a while.
Did they?
But you didn't learn about it there. Okay.
Okay, so this is my dry ingredients. This is one of my wet ingredients. Let me just peek at this. Oh, it's done. Okay, so this is my now you know this is a different consistency than the one yesterday. Of course, because I'm doing it on screen here.
Yeah.
And you let them cool in the bowl.
Just stacked on top of one another.
Yep, just stacked on top of one another.
So are
Yesterday's
those,
slid right off. These are not sliding right off.
are
So
those 2-inch squares? Pretty much?
perfect 2-inch squares. Okay, so I'll let you taste them when they're cool. Okay, now I'm going to turn this off and get that down to 350. Okay. So I just need to run this beater for just a moment. I've already pre-ran it. Okay. This is where I deviated from the recipe. It's 3 eggs, and it called for a 1/2 cup of white sugar and a 1/4 of a cup, a 1/3 of a cup of brown sugar. That's more sugar than I used, so I just used a 1/2 cup of coconut sugar. So that's what I've got in here. Cross your fingers that it all works. All right, to this mixture, I add part of the dry mix, and I stir that in. Let me get a spatula. It'll work better. If I have a spatula. So what's cakes that you guys make? And then I put part of the wet ingredient in, and I just keep rotating those until I'm all done. This one goes in next.
Thinks it's there?
Yeah, I know it's there. It's too hot.
So is it mixing good?
It's mixing well. And then I add the last of the applesauce and the butter. and the oil. Now, the other thing that we don't do is, and you're welcome to do it, I'll put it in the recipe, is make a frosting. I love cream cheese as well as the next person, but I don't use powdered sugar, and that's what they have you do, is mix the cream cheese and make a, a cream cheese frosting for the top. So we're just gonna eat the squares as if they were just a spice square. So I've got my pan all buttered and floured. And you know that this is going to come out completely different if you use all-purpose flour versus wheat. This is 100% wheat because you watched me grind it up. So
it's fresh then?
Very fresh. And the other thing I'm going to do is take this water out of here. Without burning me.
It's a good choice.
Okay. And in this goes. Okay, it's supposed to cook for 35 minutes. I'm going to check it after 30, and I'm going to come around and sit and talk to you for a minute.
Oh, okay.
And you can make it bigger.
We're going to make it bigger. Okay, here we go. Move that. Up.
I can see.
Yeah, I can see the comments. Let's we got to move this up. Just a second. We're getting there. Boom. There we go.
Okay. Is that line in their face or just mine? Okay. So that was 2 quick recipes. And I made the crackers exactly the same way I did yesterday, and these turned out softer. So I don't know. But I'm going to go grab the bowl really quick and see how they taste.
Okay. We'll taste them for you, all right? Bernie is, well, you can see what Bernie says about sugar. And
Okay.
they're crisper.
They're better.
Yeah, they're more of a cracker.
Mm-hmm. I like them with the Parmesan on them.
Yeah, that's a good flavoring.
They're quick, easy alternative. That's a third of the batch, so there's, I divided it into thirds to make up. Bernie's not on sugar. Thanks, Josias.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm afraid I won't like it. I have used coconut sugar, but have not tried it in a cake. Cream sugar jewel.
Well, she meant cream cheese, but yeah.
Cream cheese.
Yeah.
I love cream cheese. I actually do eat cream cheese a lot. It's
Not sugared.
not sugared. No, I eat plain cream cheese. I'm not afraid of eating fat. Yesterday I made, the first time I've ever made, a broccoli cream, like a cream of broccoli soup.
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
cheese. Broccoli and cheese soup. It had oodles of butter, cream, 2 different kinds of cheese. It was so good. But I'm not afraid to eat good fat. I'm not afraid. Hello, Ruth. Nice to see you on here. Trying to see what. I will include the recipe. I didn't last week, but this one is much more complicated than last week's. And we'll see how that works. One of the things that somebody had asked me to make a pizza, and like I say, my pizza recipe, we've got to get in there and get our books out
Yep.
so that we can do
We're
it.
not fully unpacked yet. We've been putting things away and not getting more out until we had a place to put them, because we're still doing some work on the house, so we don't have access to every nook and cranny for storage.
Yesterday we actually, I stood at the bottom and handed him stuff, but he actually got up and did the
Spackling.
spackling, is that what it's called, to drywall? Mudding on the ceiling, which is not an easy thing to do, so, in the living room. So my goal is that by the end of May, that living room is painted and we've started putting some furniture in there.
Yep.
That is the goal. We have never, since we lived here 3 years ago, the people who lived here during the time, we've never used it as a living room because it's never.
Well, they did.
They did. They
sort
just moved their furniture
Yeah.
into it using that. But I need completeness. Oh, Ruth is in Eastern Washington. Just wondering, where is your dog? Our dog died at a little over 14 years. Last summer? Last fall? In the fall. Last fall. He got what we think was kidney cancer. He was in such severe pain. Every single time he would try to void, he just cried and cried and cried, and they tried to fix it, and they finally just said, let him go. And it was very hard, very hard. Very hard. We didn't tell anybody for like 3 months, not even our family. We just couldn't even say it. But yeah. One of the things though that was a problem for us when we were here before is Oliver was an indoor dog, and Oliver had always slept in our bedroom his entire life. Well, indoor dogs in Missouri bring ticks in and chiggers in, and then they would crawl off of him and then get onto me. And so we had to ban him from the bedroom, and we had to, it was just, to me it's a problem having an indoor dog in this type of a climate. So I'm appreciating not having indoor animals right now. It's very nice. Yeah, thank you for your Ruth is overlooking the Lake Roosevelt from her deck.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Very nice. I don't know what Lake Roosevelt is there. I know what it is in Arizona, but I don't know what it is there. So, let's see. 19 viewers.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, it's so hard to lose pets.
Especially when you've had them. I mean, he had no competition in our house. No kids around. No other
So
pets.
spoiled.
So yeah.
So spoiled. The funniest thing that Oliver would do is he wanted to be with us, so he wants to be outside. Oh, but because we're outside, but I'm tired of being outside, so we start to walk anywhere near the house. He'd like run to the door, like, okay, they're coming in. Oh, they're not coming in. And he'd walk back out. I mean, he would do that like 20 times.
Yeah.
Oh, they're coming in. No, they're not.
He didn't want to be outside too much. Although sometimes he would go on walkabouts. He'd just take off down the road. So,
Always by the street.
yeah,
Always
heading
by
for
the
the street for some reason.
So, who has favorite recipes they like? Patty, Sue, Bernie, and Ruth, and Laura. Tell me your
So,
favorite recipes.
Favorite recipe.
Tell me your favorite.
Something that you make that you really like that would be good to know.
Yeah.
Don't be embarrassed if
Okay,
it's.
and so I'm going to put Bernie on the spot. I know that they're trying to eat healthy in their family. So, what are some of the healthy things that you have had to change to now that you're...
That are working for you.
Yeah. So, I am reading a new book. It's called Metabolical, and it's like diabolical, but with metabolism. It's written by Robert Lustig. He's the one who is a medical doctor. He's a pediatrician and endocrinologist, And so he always was the one who came out against sugar and how bad it is for us.
He did a lot on 60 Minutes
Yeah.
and some other
So
places.
he's just come out with this new book, and I just love it because it is confirming everything I feel about food, and he is so against processed food and what it's done to our bodies. And so only real food, and I'm only in the second chapter and I'm just loving it. So let me see what they said. Ruth says, first of all, she says the backwater of the Grand Coulee Dam
Oh,
on
okay.
the Columbia River, 45 minutes from trail. Nice. Your family loves salsa. Do you make fresh salsa or where it's cooked and you can it? My son-in-law makes the most incredible fresh salsa. I'm like, how do you do this? I'm sure you just cut things up, but
Well, this last year he did a lot that came out of the garden.
I know.
So it's
Yeah.
things we picked and out of their garden there, and they turned it into salsa.
Yeah. So, that's a hard one. More veggie and trying not to process food. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's hard because it's so ingrained in us,
No
the
pop.
process. Yeah. The processed foods are, there's a lot of convenience to it. But that's one area that our experience has been, if you stock yourself up with plenty of real foods in your refrigerator, or even things that don't have to be refrigerated that are there, and you have them available, and you're magic like Rhenda, you can just grab a few of them and combine them, and they turn into a great meal. But it doesn't take really that much longer or any much more effort to do that than what it takes with the processed foods. So just instead of opening a can, you peel something. That's really what
Meat
it's
and
at.
veggies, real food, meat
Yep.
and veggies, yeah, I totally agree. I use almond milk instead of pasteurized milk because I can't get raw milk here. You know, we didn't get raw milk the whole time we were in Nevada. We'd gone to Idaho one time to get it, we didn't love it.
Yeah.
The milk we get here is the same milk we got when we were here before, and from this lady, and her raw milk is the best milk I've ever tasted. And we're only going to be getting it for a few more weeks because then our cow will be giving us milk. And we have tasted Missy's cat milk,
Yep.
and it was very good.
Yep.
So yes, if you can't get raw milk, then I'm an advocate of doing something besides pasteurized because that really messes up the gut.
Well, yeah, it's more problem than help.
Laura said, I used to cook a lot, but now just make quick meals, spaghetti, soups, all vegetarian. Good evening, Deborah. Trying keto, but careful. Ooh, yeah. Very careful, be very careful. I just find that eating real food in moderation, that's really the key. But actually the key for us that we started 12 years ago was to eat 4 items.
Every
So
time we eat something from
Yeah,
these 4 groups.
so you eat a good carbohydrate, which is a complex carbohydrate. So it's going to be a fruit or a starchy vegetable, and eat a good protein, which is a meat or a cheese or nuts or something like eggs. Eat a good fat, so avocado, dressings of, your olive oil, avocado oil, those kind of things, and then your non-starchy vegetables. So you can eat as many non-starchy vegetables as you want. So when we started this, that is what we ate. If we brought a snack plate out, if we brought a real plate out, it had to have those 4 things on it. If you eat just plain protein, it increases your cortisol, and so it also increases your belly size. If you eat plain carbohydrate, it increases your belly size. You need to eat the 2 together and blend them. Juanita, hello from Illinois. We've got a lot of Midwesterns here today.
Yes.
So, Bernie, you can't get raw milk in Ohio? That's what I understand that you're saying. You can here, so it's really nice.
Yeah.
My life's journey. Hi, Jim. Hi, Jim. I'm reading. Hi, Jim and Rhenda. It's from Sharon. So, nice to see you. We're just waiting for cake to come out of the oven. I made an applesauce spice cake and crackers and cake out of einkorn flour. So, I'm going to go check the cake.
Yeah, so for those of you who just came in late, if you're looking for a flour alternative so that you, if there's a gluten sensitivity, einkorn flour is a great option because folks with gluten sensitivities are able to eat einkorn even though there is gluten in it, but it's different. I mean, it's an ancient grain. It hasn't had some of the modern changes that have gone on.
And we made crackers, Parmesan cheese. Oh wow, these are so much better than yesterday's.
Yeah, you're getting better at it.
Woo! Yeah.
So the crackers were fairly quick and easy. They didn't take too long to be in the
10
oven.
minutes.
Yeah, 10 minutes and done. The cake's a little longer.
Have a glass of cold milk waiting for her when she comes. Bernie's coming to visit. I'm so excited.
Well, if we, we may need to get more milk.
Yeah, make sure you give me a heads up because we get our milk on Saturday. So make sure I know when you're coming.
Well, we need to know the Saturday before because we have to order it ahead.
I'll just order 3 for the next few Saturdays.
Okay.
And then
And hopefully Missy comes in at some point. We'll have more milk than we know what to
I've
do.
got a daughter-in-law, a friend, and a cow all ready to deliver within the next 2 weeks. And their due days are all the same. It's weird.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
What's interesting about
Cheese makes
our
everything
daughter-in-law, their
Yeah.
due date is one of our son's birthdays. So
Yeah.
not the father of the baby, but
Yeah.
a different brother. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I had, so back to eating 4 things. In the car today, we went up to Kansas City. And so we took apple, so I sliced the apple in 2, take the core out, and lay cheese on it, and then the other apple and lay cheese on it, stick them in a bag. So we always have apples and cheese. So there's 2 of the things right there. And then we had nuts, which is a good fat. And we had a little salad that we ate along the way, which was a good, the lettuce. Even when we used to go to restaurants, which we try not to do anymore, we still do.
There are times.
There are times. For breakfast, we would say, could we have tomatoes instead of hash browns or something like that, so that we can get
Get that vegetable.
get those 4 things in there. It's really, we found that is the key. And when we started not, the last 6 months, we gained weight.
Yeah.
With all the stress that we were going through with the move and everything, it was really tough. And we're like, what are we doing wrong? Oh, we stopped eating the 4 things.
The less we eat those 4 things, the more weight and dimension we gain.
Dimension.
Dimension.
Not a good thing to talk about when you're talking about your body.
Yeah. You feed me crackers.
I'm feeding him. Polly wants a cracker. So.
How much more time?
13 minutes. You guys, we don't have to stay on. It's up to you whether you want to stay on or not. We can take a picture of it and put it on afterwards.
This is a great time for questions. So if you have questions about things that you really want to... Nutritional questions, sorry. Great.
Anything. No, anything.
Yeah.
Anything with our
This is a great time to ask. And
Oh, I do have a question for Bernie, but you don't have to answer it if you don't want to. I know that something was supposed to happen on the 12th, and I just wonder if it did. I know that so often it doesn't happen when it's supposed to.
We've been down that road, yeah.
Anyway, Patty, where's Patty from?
I don't know that she said.
Let me see. Patty, where are you from? We've got one from Illinois, one from Washington, one from Virginia, one from Ohio. And Sharon, where are you from?
They're delayed, so you're not going to get answers right away.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why it's delayed, but it is.
I'm gonna get a drink of water.
Yeah. Now, those of you who were on last week, we had the automatic filter moderator from the service we were using wouldn't let you do all caps. This one I changed to one that's similar, and I actually have the ability to adjust that filter for the caps. And my life's journey is in Florida. Anyway, I turned it to where you can do some caps, so that, you know, if you're wanting to do caps, you can do some. If you do too many, it'll still turn you off. So sorry, but it's different. But at least it lets me have some control, so that's great.
So I don't know if you guys know about what Freedom Homestead has been dealing with for a week and a half. Tangy and Jack, and their home kind of blew up.
Some hydrostatic, it was.
Pressure blew the
But yeah, the
basement wall.
entire wall on one side of their basement just blew out.
And so they have a GoFundMe to help them right now, so it was pretty sad.
Yeah.
But nobody was hurt, so.
And they're still.
They're living, they
But-
probably
but-
won't be back in their house.
The last we heard, there's some issues with the insurance, that this is not a coverable event, if you can imagine that. So,
Ruth says she loves us, so they'll wait.
okay, you'll be able to find out how it tastes. But serious about the questions, nutrition questions, any other kinds of questions, this is a great time to ask. I mean, what Rhenda has been learning about nutrition in this program that she's in for her master's degree is amazing. A lot of it confirms things that we've sort of thought, have heard from other places, but she's getting the scientific background for a lot of what we've understood to be appropriate about nutrition. And so much of it is taking a lot of the popular beliefs about nutrition that have been around since the 60s and 70s and refuting them.
Debunking them
with scientific evidence, trials, proof of, anyway, so it's some of our mindsets about what's right and wrong, it's totally taking the basis of those away and forcing us to really rethink what's important. But it's answering a lot of the questions about why do so many people have this particular
Hi, Sally.
condition.
Okay, so I'm going to share the tidbit I learned this week. This is from my instructor for one of my clients. Many of the people that are my clients, when I start to notice them to begin with, or I do the evaluation, and I do a 3-day journal, we find out that they're not eating and they're not drinking water. And I had a client who literally wasn't drinking water, and she was very dehydrated. So,
But she didn't know she was dehydrated.
she didn't know she was dehydrated. She had no thirst. She didn't want water. She didn't need water.
And she had a lot of issues.
Yeah. Without going into the issues, she had a lot of issues. But what I learned about water is this. If we are thirsty and our body says, you're thirsty, and you're like, I don't have time to drink, I don't want it, I'll put it off. And your body says, hey, you're thirsty, and you ignore it. Hey, you're thirsty, and you ignore it. So your body goes, okay, they're not going to drink, so I am going to shut down my body
They
so
must
that
be
I
in a
can
desert.
serve, and I'll put them into a desert mode. So there's not going to be water in our skin. There's not going to be bright eyes. There's not going to be, all the organs aren't going to be functioning because our body is learning to act and live without having much water. And my instructor said you have to be able to train your body to want water. So I did this with my client. And learning to take water. She says the more she would drink, the more she would want to drink. And then she was craving vegetables, and I had 3 other people that said the same thing.
And a lot of the issues she'd been having cleared up as a result of
And
drinking
so,
water.
my instructor says, yeah, your eyes will get bright, your skin will get really good, everything will start working inside, all because of water. And she says, when you don't know what to tell your clients, just tell them to drink water. So everybody go get a glass of water and drink up. Water is more important than we think. Absolutely. And Sally's in upstate New York. What part of upstate New York? We love upstate New York.
We read something today that was interesting. Is what was the statement? I want to get the phrase right.
Oh.
Can't remember.
No, I'll get it.
We should have written it down.
No, I'll get it. Eat as if your life depends on it.
There you go. Eat as if your life depends on it.
Okay. It's coming out okay. It's not quite there.
Yeah, Patty, sometimes you get the understanding of what would be helpful, but your family just doesn't agree.
Binghamton. By Tommy.
Oh!
We have a really good friend.
Do you know Tommy Thompson and Jay? We were stationed we were all in the Air Force in Germany in the same location. He was actually my commanding officer, not my commanding officer, but for my section.
She really probably doesn't know him.
But if you know him, he's a nice guy.
He watches us, so that's okay.
You know, I think he's starting his own YouTube channel. I saw him posting
Cool.
stuff.
Cool. Yeah, we lived in northern Pennsylvania for a long time, so we know right where that is. So, anyway. Cake is almost done.
Okay.
You know how you're not supposed to look at a cake?
Yep, you've been looking?
I've been looking. So what's the weather like up there in Binghamton.
So is it still chilly?
Oh,
It's
chilly here. It's chilly here.
It's looked nice, but it's just been, there was actually a little frost on the window this morning on the car.
Well, we were 39 degrees, but it had to be colder than that for frost.
Yeah, well, there's going to be sections where it's colder, and it was. So.
Yeah. Okay. So, those of you who just tuned in, we're waiting for cake. It'll be done in 4 minutes or so. And water is all I ever drink. Is there a set amount of water to drink per day? Yes. What did I hear? I heard that you should drink half of your weight in ounces of water.
So you take your pounds and that number and have it be ounces, and you drink half of that. So if you weighed 120 pounds, you'd want to drink 60 ounces of water.
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
But still 8 to 10 glasses of water. 8 to 10 glasses of water. We just find that you don't do that when you're not going to be near a bathroom.
Well, you know, I find when I'm sweating a lot, I drink more than that. And when I'm not, if I drink it, it pretty much goes right through me. So, you know, I don't know.
Okay, so Patty says, you've been around the United States, you have no idea. There are only 3 states I've never been in. So.
Well, more than that you haven't lived in.
Right. I haven't lived in them.
You lived in.
So Sally used to live in the Albany area.
Okay.
And, let's see. This is a small little group today, but we're really happy to have you. Half of your body weight in ounces. Yeah, that's it. So if you weigh 150, then 75 ounces during the day. You guys, it brightens your whole complexion. It takes your wrinkles away. And most of all, it makes your organs work very well. And all of your whole system, your whole digestive system.
What is it?
And it's so cheap.
70% of our body is water?
60.
60? Okay.
No, is that 60% of the earth is water?
Right. But a high percentage of your body is water. That's the reality.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So that is, if you want to get healthy, drink water.
Yeah.
That's number one. Anybody can drink water, and don't think that mixing it's not the same if it's mixed with tea. It's not the same if it's mixed with something else. Drink plain water. You can have the tea and all of that, but make sure that you're drinking the whole thing. Water, 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 water.
Yeah, you need the water.
All right. So
You're gonna go look?
I'm gonna go look.
Okay, she just can't stand it. She has to see where it is.
Now, you didn't bring the toothpicks in the other day, right? Tell them the toothpick story. My sister.
Oh, what's that have to do with what?
I'm gonna. You're supposed to stick a toothpick.
Oh, okay. Oh, this goes back a ways when I was a spunky teenager.
Oh, it's done.
Rhenda's
Jim,
sister.
you want to put that back on?
Okay, let me change things around so you can
Just
see
this
as
one.
it comes out. There we go. I shrunk this down so you can see.
No,
Oh, there you go. You can see the cake as it's coming out now.
Okay. So it's just. I mean, you can see the little white. I don't know if you can. There's tiny little white particles. That's the wheat because it's made with a whole wheat. And you're supposed to wait 10 minutes and then dump it upside down. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to cut it. And frost it with a cream cheese frosting. Those of you that want to frost it with a cream cheese frosting, I won't condemn you at all. We are just going to cut it into squares like little brownies, and that's what we're going to eat with it. So I need to do that. But go ahead.
So back to my story, my Rhenda's sister story. She was making a cake, and she wanted to know how to tell if it was done. And so what I told her is, well, what you need to do is put a toothpick into it, and then when you put it in the oven, when it's done, the toothpick will pop out of the cake. She believed me.
We were dating at the time.
Yeah, Rhenda and I were dating. Anyway, she actually put the toothpick in there, and
Jim had a good laugh.
It didn't pop out, but she still liked me after that. It wasn't a problem. But it was
Okay, it's very moist inside. Is this the camera that's on?
It can see you in this one.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's super moist, you guys. I mean, like really moist.
I can actually see you in both of them.
I'm really excited about that. I don't think cake is as good when it's warm, so I will wait. But it came out really easy out of the pan. It cut nice, and it's moist.
I think it's best when it's warm.
Yeah.
Everything's best right away.
Everything's best if he can get it into his mouth as fast as he can. I don't think this is fair. I think you guys need to come over to my house so I can give you bites.
Yeah.
Oh, it smells good too.
So we're gonna get to taste. See what
No.
we get.
Okay, put it back to Rachel.
Big. Make it big. Oops, I lost it. A second. Gotta grab it just right without grabbing anything else. Oh, that was the wrong one.
He's
Just a
making
second.
a mosaic.
There we go.
Okay, look at that. I think it came out really,
How's
really
it
good.
smell? Oh, good. Good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. I'm excited for that. So we'll wait till it cools.
Thank
I
you.
can handle it.
Good.
I'll put more pressure on you.
I wanted to cook this today to demonstrate einkorn, which is a much healthier flour. It does take a learning curve. If you go to the Jovial website, she has really cute, good videos on there. She's really cute. She's very Italian. She's American. She's from Connecticut, but she lives in Italy now with her very Italian husband. And she loves farming, and she loves organic, and loves giving people really good food.
Right.
So, all right. You guys, we are going to sign off now. Thank you so much for staying on here with us. It just almost feels anticlimactic that you can't have a bite, but I'm kind of excited too.
Yeah. And we're still learning how to get all the show notes ready for live, so you might have to come back to this to get the recipe because it's not in there yet.
Yeah, this doesn't go up for a little while, so it doesn't even let us get to them. So I will have them in by the end of the night, so you'll have both recipes. Anyway, thank you so much.